Hi, I'm Joe Miesner, Humble Librarian. I'm happy to be with you today for the 2021 How-To Festival. Coming to you from our test kitchen, otherwise known as my kitchen. Today we're going to show you a little something to add more flavor to your everyday meals real easily. It's something I call the mixture. Alright, so what's in the mixture? Well, an onion, shallots, and garlic. Things that you can find at most any grocery store. Alright, so let's chop up our onion. So let's get this into the mixing bowl. And a little on the counter. Next, we're going to chop up some shallots. Woo! Those are some potent shallots. Got my eyes are watering. Let's get this into the bowl. So next, we're going to chop up our garlic. You can use garlic from a jar. I prefer fresh garlic if you have the time, and I always chop it up instead of using a garlic press. It just seems to work out better. Seems to stay a little better when you store it. All right, so we're finishing up our chopping our garlic. Let's get that into the mixing bowl. So now we simply mix it all together. Boy, it's really starting to smell good already. We haven't started cooking. Just mix it up good. Some nice equal proportions. Throw a little on the counter mistakenly. So let's do a few easy dishes that you can use your mixture in. First, we're going to make some pasta sauce. We're going to make some meatballs, and we're going to have some garlic bread. So for a perfect spaghetti and meatball dinner. We're going to start with a medium heat. We add some olive oil. And let's throw in some of our mixture. Probably half a cup, 3/4 a cup. And we're going to reduce that down until it becomes translucent. So our mixture in olive oil is nice and reduced down. We're going to add that into the larger pot. Right there. And we got our start. And we can just use some run-of-the-mill pasta sauce. Throw that right in there. We're going to use 2 cans because we want to have enough for the meatballs to cook in. We're going to add a little wine. No, just, you don't want to add too much because you overpower it. So we're going to do about 1/4 cup in there. I'd like to add just a little bit of pepperoncini brine in there. Gives it a nice peppery flavor. We're going to give it a little more Italian seasoning and some pepper. We have our sauce all together. We're going to let that simmer on the back burner here as we make our meatballs. Alright, so with our meatballs, we're going to add some more mixture. So, a fair amount. I'm going to put a little breadcrumbs in there. We're going to add an egg, excuse me. We'll put a little more Italian seasoning in there, put a little extra. This time I'm going to use some cracked pepper. Now we're going to mix that all up, and we're going to make ourselves some meatballs. So we're finishing up our meatballs. We're going to cook them about halfway in the oven, and then we're going to cook them the rest of the way in the sauce. Just cooking them at 350 for a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on them. Again, we only want to cook them halfway because we want to have them cook partway in the sauce, get a lot of flavors into that sauce. And we want to make some garlic bread with our meatballs and sauce. So we put a little more olive oil in there, a little bit of mixture. Again, reduce it down. This time we're going to add a nice chunk of butter in there. Let's add a little more. We're going to mix it up and we'll be right back. Melted our butter in there. Turn off the stove. And we're just going to add it to some fresh baked bread. Carefully spread that out. Get a little more butter on there. Spread it to the edges. And we're going to add just a little bit of shredded Parmesan on the top. There we go. All right, so we're going to pull the meatballs and we're going to get those into the sauce. So as you can see, they're about halfway done. They're a little bit, need a little more cooking. That's too good. We're just gonna get those guys off there. Turned on the broiler. We're gonna broil our garlic bread. We want to keep an eye on it because it's real easy to burn. Oh, looking good. And let's take a look at our meatballs that have been simmering. See, they're nice. Plump. Let's cut one of these up and see what it looks like. There you go. So nice, juicy, not overdone. Very flavorful with that mixture in there. I'm going to throw these back in. And we're going to eat those for dinner tonight. Usually I do a little bit of pasta at this point, but we're not ready for dinner quite yet. Let's do an easy one. Shrimp scampi. Sounds fancy, but really easy to do. Again, we started with our olive oil. We've reduced down our mixture. And we're going to add butterflied shrimp, right? So they're cut so they lie wide open. And we're just going to place these all in there. Once they're almost done, we're going to add a nice big chunk of butter. So the shrimp is almost done, so we're going to throw in a big chunk of butter. And we're going to let it cook the rest of the way with that. That lets us get that real creamy, buttery effect without the butter separating. So let's let that cook for a minute. Our butter's all melted in there. We want to be careful not to overcook the shrimp because shrimp can get kind of tough if you do. Now we're going to plate this thing. Scampi in there. I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan, a little fresh parsley on there, and we're going to take a piece of the bread that we made before, add some lemon, and you have shrimp scampi. A simple meal that a lot of us like to make are tacos. So we're going to again start with I use some vegetable oil this time, but a little oil on the bottom of the pan. I'm going to add some of our mixture in there. And we're going to cook some ground beef. So it's going to take a little time for the ground beef to cook. We'll let the rest of that just cook right on in there with it. And I'm going to add a couple teaspoons ground oregano and some ground cumin. I'm going to let that cook up. All right, so what would tacos be without a little bit of salsa? So We're gonna make some salsa now to go with our tacos. I'm gonna start by dicing up some things. We're gonna add some mixture in. We'll show you in just a minute. All right, a nice easy salsa to go with our tacos. We diced up our tomatoes. Let's get them in the mixing bowl. We're gonna add our mixture right on top. A couple spoonfuls, depending on how oniony and garlicky you like your salsa. Already chopped up some cilantro. Let's put a bunch in there. We're gonna squeeze some limes in here. I don't have any peppers I'm putting in today. We're gonna make a nice tame salsa so everybody in the family will eat it. But you could add a serrano or a jalapeno, ghost pepper if you're getting crazy. We're gonna add a little bit of vinegar. You don't want to go too crazy on the vinegar, but it gives it that nice relish kind of taste to it. We're gonna mix that all together. Let's add a little bit of salt. That ground pepper. Get it all good mixed together. Now I'm going to cover that and put it back in the fridge. Let it chill down a little bit. I'm going to start on our guacamole. Get our avo going. Nice ripe one. Not overripe. We're gonna work on that, get that chopped up. We're gonna get it in the bowl and we'll move on to our next step. So we're getting our avocado into the bowl. So we got our avo in there. We're gonna add just a little mixture. Give that fresh crunch. And we're going to add a little of that salsa we just made. Maybe a touch more. I'm going to put just a little bit of sour cream in there to give it some creamy consistency. A few more limes. All right. Pepper. And a little salt. All right, so I'm gonna mix that up and we'll see what we come up with. We've mixed up our guacamole. Let's put that in a smaller bowl that we can use to serve from. As you see, it came out nice and creamy, super tasty, and ready for tacos. Now we're going to do some taco shells. We want to cook a little bit higher heat so that it heats up our shells but doesn't sink too far into the tortilla. We want to let it get a little bubbly so it's nice and pliable. So when I turn it over, it's going to form a nice taco shell. We have our ground beef. We poured the grease off of there. That mixture worked in real good with the different spices we put in with it. Let's make us a few tacos. So of course there's many different things you could add to your tacos. But this is just a nice, simple way to make some really delicious tacos. I'm gonna add a little lettuce. We're gonna add some more salsa. A little bit of our guacamole, maybe a big hunk of guacamole. put a couple squeezes of lime on there. There you go. Easy, simple, and delicious tacos. All right, so you see how the mixture can enhance a lot of meals, give you a lot more flavor, make good home cooked food that's much more nutritious. It's great to get together with family and have a real good meal. What other things can you do with the mixture? Just about anything. I love to do potatoes. Sometimes I'll quarter them up or eighth them up and boil them a little bit, put mixture all over them, bake that in the oven. They are delicious and great with meats. Speaking of meats, you can barbecue and put, sometimes I'll mix a little butter with it. I'm always mixing butter with the mixture. And say a London broil thinly sliced with the mixture and butter poured over it. Absolutely delicious. You can also do veggies. I'll do squash, different kinds of squash. Slice them up, maybe a little bit of wine in there with the mixture and some oil. Cook that up. Fantastic. Just make sure you don't overcook those veggies. So when you make your mixture, you got to play around with the proportions of the onion, the shallots, the garlic, and mix it to your taste and your family's taste. Also, you change it up and add different ingredients. What different things work for you? I have a friend that makes onion, garlic, and jalapeno as his basic mix, and it is delicious. Pretty spicy, but it's delicious. So that's just some ideas that you could use. What ideas do you think of when you watch this video? Think about it and give it a try and see how it works for you. I hope you have a bunch of delicious meals from some of the ideas we have. Maybe try some of the recipes I put forward, and I appreciate you watching.